Horror fans, Christmas has officially come early with the release of Damien Leone's Terrifier 3. As a horror sequel, and especially a third installment in a horror franchise, this film has it all. This film has great characters, and I'm not just talking about the ones that we've already been introduced to. It introduces a ton of new ones, and even though most of them are on screen for a very short amount of time, Leone has this magic ability to really make you care for them, and to also make you laugh with some of the ways in which they're killed. Which brings me to my next point. This film has some really insane kills. Bigger, bloodier, but most importantly, more inventive kills. There are ways in which people die in this movie that I don't think have ever been done. And there is also a way in which someone dies that, if you've seen the first movie, is kind of like a counterpart. I would say even more of a gender swapped homage to that. And I think real OGs will know what I'm talking about, especially if you have seen the film already. Most surprisingly, this film is incredibly funny. David Howard Thornton has been playing Art the Clown for a little bit more than a decade now, and I wouldn't dare to say that this movie is where he finds his stride. I think he's been pretty comfortable in the role for quite some time, but here is where I think audiences can really come to appreciate how great he is at playing a character who does not speak at all. There are some fantastic and seriously hilarious moments where we see him react to certain things the characters say and do without them acknowledging it. There's particularly this one interaction where this couple is talking about him and he hears them, and I don't want to go into too much, but just his facial expressions and his reactions, they really do like almost create this weird charm to the character despite how freaking evil he is. And also, going back to the characters, I would be a fool if I did not mention how cool some of the really niche cameos in this film are. There are several characters that appear early on in a bar sequence, and arguably the coolest comes in a very blink and you'll miss it moment halfway through the film in a news reporter's segment. The film's climax and ending are also pretty good. I mean, surprising, but good nonetheless. They're basically designed to make you crave more Terrifier, and that's exactly what it did for me. Lastly, I actually made a friend watching this movie. There was a total stranger in the audience with me. We were laughing at all the same moments. We were screaming at all the same moments. And we even stayed until after the credits together. And afterwards, we had like a pretty in-depth conversation of all the things that we enjoyed. And even some of the things that we kind of had critiques about after the film. So you can argue that this film literally brings people together. At least that's what I'm arguing. I say all that to say that this film is really damn good. If I'm being honest, I think my only real criticism about the film is the fact that we're still getting the lore about Art the Clown and his creation, and even Vicky, his, female counterpart in this film, who, has been a through line since the first film. That's still being spoon-fed to us. And I don't want to say that it's not being spoon-fed quick enough. Here, there is a great attempt at explaining things that were previously hinted at in part 2, but it feels like we still don't have a clear piece of what's going on. At least I don't have a clear piece of what's going on. We get some answers, but by the end I feel like there are still way more questions, if that makes sense. Once again, if you are a horror fan, if you are a horror fiend, if you are a horror hound, this movie was made for you. And if you're a casual moviegoer who likes thrills, especially during spooky season, I would highly recommend you check this film out. Yes, it's technically a Christmas movie, and I think the thought process behind releasing it now is that enough people can, see it and generate buzz for those who have not seen it yet, and those who are curious about it in 2 months can check it out when it maybe is re-released or comes out on digital. But nevertheless, Terrifier 3 is the real deal, and you guys need to go see it if you haven't already.